Good evening. The coronavirus is the biggest threat this country has faced for decades, and this country is not alone.
Sa ikatlong linggo sa ating pakigbisog against a formidable enemy.
Hello guys, it's March 30, 7 o'clock in the morning. No traffic in the UK after Prime Minister Boris Johnson's announced total lockdown and ordered British people to stay home. So come with me guys to check impact of this COVID-19 lockdown in terms of traffic. Here in the UK, all stores were being closed except those essential stores like groceries and boots. Closed stores includes restaurants, bars, pubs, leisure, clothing, and so many others. The good thing is 80% of salaries of all employees, workers affected by COVID-19 will be paid by the government. Hopefully, ganyan din sa Pinas para hindi napagod ang mga barangay officials, mayors, and so many others sa pagdi-deliver ng mga relief goods sa mga affected communities. Top up na lang directly sa bank account nila. The benefit of doing this is less corruption. Why? It's easy to monitor where the money goes. And now, let us listen to the messages of Prime Minister Boris Johnson and President Duterte.
Good evening. The coronavirus is the biggest threat this country has faced for decades, and this country is not alone. All over the world, we're seeing the devastating impact of this invisible killer. And so tonight, I want to update you on the latest steps we're taking to fight the disease and what you can do to help. And I want to begin by reminding you why the UK has been taking the approach that we have. Without a huge national effort to halt the growth of this virus, there will come a moment when no health service in the world could possibly cope, because there won't be enough ventilators, enough intensive care beds, enough doctors and nurses. And as we've seen elsewhere in other countries that also have fantastic healthcare systems, that is the moment of real danger. To put it simply, if too many people become seriously unwell at one time, the NHS will be unable to handle it, meaning more people are likely to die, not just from coronavirus, but from other illnesses as well. So it's vital to slow the spread of the disease, because that is the way we reduce the number of people needing hospital treatment at any one time, so we can protect the NHS's ability to cope and save more lives. And that's why we've been asking people to stay at home during this pandemic. And though huge numbers are complying, and I thank you all, the time has now come for us all to do more. From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home, because the critical thing we must do to stop the disease spreading between households. That is why people will only be allowed to leave their home for the following very limited purposes: shopping for basic necessities as infrequently as possible, one form of exercise a day, for example, a run, walk or cycle, alone or with members of your household, any medical need to provide care or to help a vulnerable person, and travelling to and from work, but only where this is absolutely necessary and cannot be done from home. That's all. These are the only reasons you should leave your home. You should not be meeting friends. If your friends ask you to meet, you should say no. You should not be meeting family members who do not live in your home. You should not be going shopping except for essentials like food and medicine. And you should do this as little as you can. And use food delivery services where you can. If you don't follow the rules, the police will have the powers to enforce them, including through fines and dispersing gatherings. To ensure compliance with the government's instruction to stay at home, we will immediately close all shops selling non-essential goods, including clothing and electronic stores, and other premises, including libraries, playgrounds and outdoor gyms and places of worship. We'll stop all gatherings of more than 2 people in public, excluding people you live with. And we'll stop all social events, including weddings, baptisms and other ceremonies, but excluding funerals. Parks will remain open for exercise, but gatherings will be dispersed. No Prime Minister wants to enact measures like this. I know the damage that this disruption is doing and will do to people's lives, to their businesses and to their jobs. And that's why we've produced a huge and unprecedented programme of support both for workers and for business. And I can assure you that we will keep these restrictions under constant review. We will look again in 3 weeks and relax them if the evidence shows we are able to. But at present, there are just no easy options. The way ahead is hard, and it is still true that many lives will, sadly, be lost. And yet it is also true that there is a clear way through. Day by day, we are strengthening our amazing NHS with 7,500 former clinicians now coming back to the service. With the time you buy, by simply staying at home, we are increasing our stocks of equipment. We are accelerating our search for treatments. We're pioneering work on a vaccine. And we are buying millions of testing kits that will enable us to turn the tide on this invisible killer. I want to thank everyone who is working flat out to beat the virus. Everyone from the supermarket staff to the transport workers to the carers to the nurses and doctors on the front line. But in this fight, we can be in no doubt that each and every one of us is directly enlisted. Each and every one of us is now obliged to join together to halt the spread of this disease, to protect our NHS and to save many, many thousands of lives. And I know that as they have in the past, so many times, the people of this country will rise to that challenge and we will come through it stronger than ever. We will beat the coronavirus and we will beat it together. And therefore, I urge you at this moment of national emergency to stay at home, protect our NHS and save lives. Thank you.
Sa ikatlong linggo sa ating pakigbisog against a formidable enemy. As always, I give my sincerest gratitude to those who are fighting in the front lines, for doctors, nurses, allied health professionals, police, soldiers, civil servants, and everyone performing essential services in the private sector. I assure you that your efforts will be rewarded. Your heroism will not be forgotten. Saludo kami sa inyo. Let me thank the LGUs who are doing their best to contain the spread of the virus in your localities. I see that you are employing innovative programs and initiatives to address the needs of your constituents. Yan ang dapat tulungan. Rest assured that the national government is behind you as we safeguard the welfare of our people in your communities. I issued an order to Executive Secretary Mijaldia, clearly laying down the responsibilities of each department in implementing the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act. I've given them the marching orders emphasizing the need for sufficient authority so that they do not have to go back to me and ask for clearance for each and every action they have to take. All of the details of our actions will be part of my report, which will be submitted to Congress pursuant to Bayanihan Act. There are now only two powers in the law that I reserve strictly for myself. One is the power to direct the operation of private establishments. The other is the power to require businesses to prioritize contracts for materials and services necessary for the crisis. I will exercise these powers only when absolutely necessary. The government is now taking action and undertaking several key measures to overcome and recover from the effects of this pandemic. These measures have three main priorities. First, providing emergency assistance to affected sectors. The second, securing facilities for resources for the health sector. And third is performing fiscal and monetary action for the economy. First, the government is now launching the largest and widest social protection program in our country's history. Pinakamalaki itong tulong ng ibibigay ng gobyerno sa mamamayan. Sa history natin, nagkaroon ng problemang ganito. To make up for the loss of economic opportunities due to quarantine measures in the place of COVID-19. We have allotted 200 billion pesos for low-income households who are badly affected by the current crisis. Sila ang nasa informal sector and those who live day-to-day on subsistence wages or no work, no pay. Arrangements, beneficiary households will receive emergency support for their 2 months based on the regional minimum wage. However, I still count on everyone to also look out after their fellow men, their countrymen. To those who have more in life, I implore you to share in the cost of taking care of the less fortunate and keeping our society intact. They have also contributed to our prosperity in one way or the other. So let us support them in this crisis. Okay. Let it be said that in the hour of our country's greatest need, we all to the private sector, contribute in any way you can in dealing with this national emergency. We implore employers to do their part in protecting the welfare of the millions of Filipino households
Ito na
that
resulta
belong to the
lockdown.
formal sector
Stay-at-home order ng
and
Prime Minister
depend on their employers
Boris Johnson.
for continuous
Kung matatandaan nyo,
livelihood. For those who have silently helped
positive sila. Positive si
away
Boris
from the
Johnson
cameras,
sa
maraming salamat po.
virus.
The government will provide a recovery package,
Na-isolate pa siya.
especially to micro, small,
Pati yung
and medium enterprises to help deal with the economic effects of this pandemic.
positive din.
My economic team is already creating the guidelines for
Pati si,
this
ano pala si Prince
as I
Charles,
speak.
positive ng COVID-19.
To our farmers and our fisher folk, we have not forgotten you, and government is now employing quick response measures to help you during the crisis, as well as ensure food productivity, availability, and sufficiency during the period of the pandemic. Andito ang gobyerno para sa inyo. The government is also ensuring the unhampered flow of cargo and their workers to maintain the continuous and steady supply of food, goods, and other essential supplies and items. A price freeze on commodities is already in effect, and measures to curtail hoarding
Ito na ang resulta
and profiteering
ng
are also in place.
COVID-19.
Uulitin ko, hindi ito panahon para kumita. Hindi ito panahon ng pagsasamantala. Food packs and essential non-food items are also being distributed on LGUs in Metro Manila and the rest of Luzon. Contaminated areas in the Visayas and Mindanao are receiving similar assistance. More will be given to augment the requirement of LGUs in the coming days as we repackage the items in our stockpiles. Gagawin ko lahat para walang magutom. Second, we are marshalling and deploying the resources of government to provide our frontline health workers with everything they require so they can save as many lives as possible. We are now procuring medical supplies, devices, and personal protective equipments. About 1 million medical protective items are being acquired right now, with the government and the private sector working together to purchase or produce the necessary quantities. We are also ramping up our capacity to test more broadly, to take a fuller and more accurate picture of the spread of COVID-19 in the country. We will also build, operate, and accredit more medical facilities and laboratories in the coming weeks.
Turn left on Moranton Way.
The outpouring of donations talaga na talaga. Sa inyo po, personal
5.4
ko,
miles, then enter roundabout.
gratitude na hindi mabayaran ng pera. Ang papasalamat rin ng taong bayan Pilipino.
Alas 7 na dito.
Salamat po. At
March 29.
ako'y
Pero
regularly
kita nyo naman.
makipag-usap sa inyo until this crisis is over. Huwag kayong matakot ngayon. Huwag na huwag kayong matakot kasi sabi ko may pera ako at Ito si Galbeso, puro military na yan sila. At as a matter of fact, ganito,
Kaya matapos itong lockdown,
lahat ng contribution, lahat,
we never know.
ibigay mo doon
Turn right on
sa
Christian Road.
opisina
Then turn left.
na set up ng task force.
Pray,
At
pray, and pray. Yun naman, linis ng daan.
Kung may releases man lahat, accounted dyan, tapos then there's another audit in the integrity of the procedure. Yan lang po. Papasalamat ako sa lahat ng trabahante ng gobyerno na dyan.
Turn left on Western
At
Road.
ako naman po at the same time nagbibigay ng warning. Totohanan ko talaga. Sa crisis, tapos gawin mo pa yung
Drive 0.6 miles. Then turn left on
dapat
St.
ka
Place.
talagang ikulong. Hindi kita i-release. At huwag kang hindi ako maniwala ng kaso-kaso.
5 miles na lang, sa bahay na tayo.
Hayaan mo, magpapapreso ako.
Masaya
Balang
na.
araw kung mali ang sinabi ko
So,
at
ito,
ginawa ko.
mga
Sa
kababayan,
inyong mga Pilipino,
resulta ng
kabayan,
COVID-19
bayan, mahal mo.
sa UK.
Mo mga Bisaya,
Napakalinis ng daan.
sunod lang mo.